So, welcome to the show, Cindy Edison. Cindy, I am so happy to have you on today. You are such a blessing to humanity. When I first connected with you and heard you on Ashley's show, then on Alex's show, um, your teachings, Joseph's teaching, just resonated with my heart. It validated so much for me. And really, you are a gift for humanity. So
Wow.
welcome.
Wow. What an introduction. Thank you.
It's the
Wow.
truth.
They're saying thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So we appreciate that very much. Yeah. We love being here and sharing this message, sharing everything. Everything is this shift is a perspective shift. Everything's changing. So we would like to discuss some of those changes so people can get on board.
Yes, indeed. So when you say we, for those listeners and for those viewers, Cindy actually channels a beautiful beings of light, a group of it's an entity being called,
Collective.
it's a collective, exactly, right? Of course, a collective beings of light that are called Joseph. And when you speak of Joseph, you speak it he or we or they. How does Joseph appear to you? And when how was the journey of actually discovering Joseph? How you how you both connected, your souls, your the energies of light.
Well, it's a very long story that I will hit the highlights on because it's a really long, drawn out story. But first, I want to say that we we are exempling a blended vibration, a blended physical vibration. So when we are talking, it is in these interviews, they are dominant. So it's always the soul vibration of me who you are hearing, but I am here because I am part of that vibration. So I'm just focused on my soul's vibration. So I've shifted. Now I'll go in and out. You may or may not be able to tell. Sometimes I'll say, well, when I did this, so they step back and I really step forward. They're always here. So the whole process of this shift is us getting in touch with our soul or higher self or whatever you want to refer to it, guides, whatever. We call it the soul, which we refer to as the collective you. It is where the vibration of the collective you, all of your aspects, all of your human aspects who have lived thousands and thousands of lifetimes in this dimension and in other dimensions too. So we channel, all of us channel all day long, every day. Every time you touch something, that's a physical sense and it's a translation, right? It's a vibrational translation. So you can experience that touching in the physical world. So we are actually translating a vibration into our physical experience, and that's how we manifest things. So anyway, that's a whole nother story. But
I love
Joseph
the
came,
stories. We could
the story,
please.
we could talk stories all day long, yeah, because they're great because they all play a role. They all connect, they connect the dots, really. We refer to it sometimes as a puzzle. We're putting pieces together. A lot of people use that analogy because it's a great analogy because as we become more and more aware of who we really are, which is our soul vibration of us, the God within us, as the Bible says, we are expanding our awareness of who we are. And with that expansion comes more knowledge and more wisdom and more knowing of our power, really, our vibrational power, which is where really all we talk about is the vibration. So, which is weird because I'm so not a science person, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, so I was in advertising for about 35 years and I sat down one night in 2009 to write an article and sitting there thinking on my laptop and
Mhm.
I just started typing and it began with Dear Cindy. And I was so intrigued, really intrigued. And they started talking about my life sounds like a weird thing to say it now, but it was so easy. It came through, and it was very strange. And I was just listening and typing what I heard. 9 pages was 9 pages later. And it's weird. I mean, when I go back and look at it now, it's kind of weird because I've really evolved so much since then. But that started the conversation, and I could feel a shift in my own vibration. Didn't know what it was then, but now that I understand it, I look back at all of these events that happened during this whole unfolding. And so they started talking, and of course I asked, like we all do, who are you? What do you want? Who are you? And all they would say was, at that point, was, we are you. And of course I didn't know. I was raised Catholic. I didn't know anything about any of this stuff, although I was always attracted to channels, always. I would go to psychics and channels with my friends, and it was very intriguing to me. I always loved it. So it didn't scare me. Obviously, I knew what was happening, but I never assumed it would happen to me, well. So those conversations went on really every day, every evening, for several years. And the questions were the same. Who are you? We are you. Stuff like that. And I don't remember. I have every single one of them I've ever written with them. I've got thousands and thousands. But
Oh, that's
anyway,
beautiful.
in about 2014, we
Mm.
were chatting, and they had been teaching me all this time about, they were telling me, you're going to deliver a message, had no idea what it was. They had to, I had to embody this somehow, I guess. Anyway, in 2014, they pushed me really to the Abraham material. And I had no idea who Abraham was or who Esther was, nothing. But I used to listen to Hay House Radio
Mhm.
at the office every day. So all of a sudden, it seemed like for several days, maybe even a week, all I was seeing was Abraham Hicks, and pictures of Esther. Never saw them before, or they weren't in my awareness, never. So finally I said, okay. And I went. And the first few minutes I knew there was something there. I was very attracted to it. I sucked it up. I went to the workshops, read all the books, listening day and night, and all this stuff. Finally, about a year later, they said, in one of the conversations, they said, we are Abraham. And I started laughing, and I said, yeah, right. That's funny. And they said, you'll understand more as we move forward. So I started, it was like they sounded like Abraham to me. Okay. So that went on for another year, Abraham. And then I had a session with Paul Selig,
Mm.
and which I adore him, and I've read all
Mhm.
his books, and he's just amazing. And I had a session with him, and I went in very confidently, although, I think probably all channels, and you channel, so you can tell me if this was right for you too. But, Esther, I'm thinking she's way up here, and how could I ever, so when they said they were Abraham, I was like, we think that they are different than we are, but they're not, so Paul Selig, I got this, session with Paul Selig, and I was like, wow, he's like, to some people it would be like meeting a celebrity. Now I'm not impressed by celebrities the way, or with anybody really, except
Yeah,
these
me
people
too.
then, right?
Yeah.
But he was the coolest guy. Anyway, so we're chatting, and he says, so what's going on with you? And I tell him that I'm channeling Abraham, and he says, Abraham who? And I said, Esther and Abraham. And he said, I don't think that's how it works, Cindy. And I got a pit in my stomach. And I immediately thought, I've been duped. What is this? This is crazy.
Yeah.
And so he said, let's go to the guides. And the guides said immediately, there is a group who is trying to teach through her. She needs to ask for their name. So I went home, and I typed 2 words, what gives? And I said, what is this? And they said, no, relax. Cause I was kind of mad, I was like, now I've erased like all these years when I'm believing so, and they said, you have to understand what channels do. Channels channel an aspect of themselves, and we are an aspect of you as you are an aspect of us. So Paul's guides we're telling you that, yes, we are a collective and we are known as Abraham, and we will reveal our name to you at the right time. So now there's another missing piece to this puzzle. So I said, okay, so it felt right. I had no reason to question it. A few days later, I'm sitting outside, just kind of hanging out. It was beautiful fall day or something. And all of a sudden I see this vision clear. And it was a prop plane, one of those propeller planes that
Yeah.
go over the beaches, you know, and they had banners. It had a banner behind it, three banners behind it. And the first banner, as it's going in front of me like this, the first banner says Seth, the second banner said Abraham, and the third banner was blank. And I heard them
Oh
say,
no.
that's us. Yeah.
Oh no.
So that was
Blank.
really cool.
Oh
Then I
no.
understood. Then I understood. So when I was chatting with them that night, I said, that was really cool. You know, thanks for
That was
showing me
really
that.
cool.
Would you care to expand on that a little, you know?
Oh,
And they said, yes. They said, we are the expanded vibration of this consciousness that is known as Seth and Abraham. And there are many teachers within this consciousness. And they said, we are teaching the evolution of the human aspect. We are teaching the evolving toward the new earth vibration, which is really our next physical stop on our eternal path, is this experience of the new earth that we will experience with no fear, which we've never done before as this
never.
human aspect. So that was pretty exciting to me, but a little, you know, like, what do you mean? What does all that mean? So they've been explaining it to me ever since. And then they said, a little while later, I don't know when it was, a month later, they said, we want you to next month, take a month off, go to the beach, write the first book, which I did. And when I signed the welcome letter, they signed it, "We are Joseph." And that's when I knew. That's when I knew who they were. And they tell us in that book, I learned a lot from that book, I'll tell you. They tell us in that book that they are revealing who they are. Now, in the beginning, got some flack about that. Oh, she's just riding Abraham's coattail. We don't do that. We don't do that. That's a
No.
level of awareness, right? But they tell us that we are, at this point, we are exposing, I think that's my word. I don't think that's the word they use. We are exposing or revealing. We are revealing who we are as the expanded version of this consciousness. So you know more of who you are, that we are in constant expansion. The consciousness continues to expand. And as we expand with it, we move. We move. The aspect of us moves. We expand into other realms of consciousness. So as we expand, we have been expanding through the third dimension for
Mm-hmm.
thousands and thousands, eons of time. We've evolved to this. And our next stop will be the fourth dimension. Won't really be a stop. Actually, we are encouraging people to experience the fourth dimension now. And that's a shift in perspective. That is a shift in our vibrational creating. You know, it's the knowing who we are and knowing how we create, so we don't continue to create the chaos anymore, and the wars and the famine and the abuse and, you know, everything that's available from the contrasting vibrations of the third dimension.
So beautiful how Joseph teaches about the eradication of the energy of fear.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you think about fear, and it's like synonymous with some like of what's happening in the world in today's world, right?
Yeah.
And Joseph, Abraham, Seth, all of these biblical names, and of where the energy force is right now, where, listen, let's speak about that just for a moment, of where the war is right now in the Middle East, of all of these like energies that are rising up right now to be cleared away. And fear for me is synonymous with certain energies of evil, right? EVIL, but it has the same letters as live, L-I-V-E, of being able to live in the here and now. And with Joseph being this beautiful transmitter of love and of knowingness, and he gives us such inspiration of going into that energy of where there's of love, of peace. What does Joseph say of what is happening in the 3D now, and the human reasoning of it, and the spiritual solution? How about that? The spiritual solution, because I know we all signed up for it at this moment in time,
Right.
but it's causing such a separation instead of bringing certain souls together. It seems like there's such a separation at this moment in time. What does Joseph feel about that, or see about that?
This is a time of choosing. It is a time of individual expansion into the understanding of our ability to choose. Now, the contrasting manifestations, we refer to fear as contrast, because it is, we lighten the load, so to speak. We are moving away from the labels of the third dimension, because that's part of the shift. In order to shift your perspective, you have to think about things differently. And it will, just like our definition or our description of the ego aspect, which I hope we can talk about a little bit later, is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because when you shift your perspective from fear to contrast, it lightens it a little bit. And the contrast that we speak of is contrasting vibration to the vibration of who we really are. It doesn't mean that it's bad. It is contrasting, which means it produces, it manifests the physical experience of what it is, which is in contrast to what we are, which is love. So it produces, it manifests fearful experiences. In the third dimension, the word fear works. When we do our lexicon, fear will not be in the book, because fear doesn't exist where we're going. So we create new labels. We create a new belief system that doesn't contain beliefs that are fearful. And all of our beliefs now are fearful. So anyway, get off track a little bit. The chaos that we are seeing now is all created by us. The human creates everything. We are powerful creators. Most of us don't know that, because they say, well, we hear that, we hear you create. Seth started saying you create your own reality 50 years ago, 60 years ago, and many before Seth. And Abraham took it, blew it up, and said, look, this is what you're doing. You know, people read books and they say, well, it's still happening. Well, you have to actually do it. You must consciously, we are in the position now to consciously shift our own vibration, which is what it takes, which involves shifting your perspective. So the only way, the spiritual solution, every solution to every problem is in alignment, it comes from the vibration of love. You cannot be out of alignment and form and create a manifestation that is in alignment. It doesn't happen that way, because there's no vibrational agreement between the in and out of alignment vibrations. And this is where we are now. We're standing on the precipice of this choosing, right? This choosing ground. And we are choosing to remain in the third dimension of contrast, and to focus on it, and to participate in it, and to expand that realm of vibration that creates the experience of it. Or we choose to move away from it, look over here, look on this side, and create our own reality. You're doing it. I'm doing it. You're doing it by putting this out there, by sitting in front of this and sharing messages like this to people. People are coming out of the woodwork to try to educate the world with why we are where we are and how to create something new. So we don't change what is, we create something new that we prefer. So, and the way we do that is by shifting our own vibration first. Individually, we must do it first. You know, Abraham teaches, and they have for many, many years, that one in alignment is more powerful than a million who aren't, because the one in alignment is creating from the vibration of love. Now, we are constantly, moment by moment, we are creating.
Yeah.
There are no predictions anymore. People come to us all the time and say, what is my path? What's next for me? And our answer is always the same: focus on alignment and you'll discover
Yeah.
it yourself. We have got to take responsibility for our own creations. And the way we do that is to understand how we are creating, so we can direct our vibration and create a manifestation that we prefer, a manifestation from love and not from the chaos. All of that that's going on, the law, you can look at everything that happens in the third dimension and understand it vibrationally. Everything,
Oh,
every law that has been created has been created to try to fix an out of alignment situation. The law itself is out of alignment, in
it is.
alignment with the contrast, but we just keep creating more laws, right? I mean, there are a million examples of that. A million.
Oh, you
It's a
just
big
broke.
subject.
No,
Yeah.
no, this is for our listeners, for our viewers, we were speaking a little bit before we hit record, and there's always like um Joseph knows how to connect the dots. There's always some great information, of course. There's always like heart opening, and this is the first time you and I are meeting in
Yeah.
person in this lifetime, just in this lifetime, but
Yeah.
definitely in others, like, because there's no such thing as
Yeah.
coincidence. And I mentioned to you that I've been channeling for 25 years, but it's actually been my entire life.
Yeah.
And when you were speaking, when they are speaking, when Joseph is speaking about vibration and vibration of love, and I've never said this out loud to anyone because I'm in the process of writing a book and writing my story. And English was my sixth language. And I was born here. I was born in Brooklyn, like
Yeah. Of
Brooklyn
course.
was my first language,
Well,
Brooklyn.
that is
Forget
a
about
language in
it.
itself.
My
Yeah.
first word was forget about it.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. What are you talking
and,
about?
and then it was namaste. No,
Yeah.
and so growing up in a house of people that were speaking all different languages, I was a translator all the time. I was able to translate the language of the soul, actually.
Yeah.
My grandfather would speak to me in German. My grandmother would speak to me in Romanian. My parents would speak to me in Russian. I would have a Polish net. It was like always translating. I thought
Yeah.
English was my secret language, but apparently you and I have the same secret language. And
We all
Joseph
have a
too,
secret.
right?
Yeah.
And it's right.
Yeah.
So this is how we're going to segue ego, by the way. It's unbelievable. As you're speaking, so much is opening up for me. And that's why I
Yeah.
don't do the preparation. I just feel with my heart. So
Yeah.
when your assistant reached out to me, it was just like a hell yes, because it was a vibrational match, right?
Yes.
As a child, I was able to see, I guess, or feel the vibration of a person's heart. I knew the specific vibration that was coming out of, and I heard it and I felt it and I saw it with colors and frequency and felt it in my body. When the vibration of what was in the heart, because then a tragedy happened when I was about 19 months, and it was in my home, in the apartment that we lived in. The vibration and the energy shifted in the home, and they were trying to protect me as a 19-month-old. But yet I was able to decipher the energy of what was in their heart and what was coming out of their mouth to appease or to bring me at peace. My grandmother passed away, but it was tragic. It was tragic. And thank you. And I started doubting of whether what is a lie, okay, and what is truth. And at first they said, oh my God, am I not good enough? Because I know that it's not there, what's in their heart, when I'm feeling in the vibration of love, is not what they're saying. So what is lie? What is truth? And I know what the truth feels like. We know what the truth feels. It's synonymous as love. That's it.
Right.
That's, you know, when they say the truth will set you free, it'll hurt. No, in the end, it brings you to
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
And then I realized, and right now I just realized, you just taught me something, like they just taught me something huge.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
this is big. Like I'm holding back my tears, but maybe I won't, you know, like later.
You don't have to.
I mean, it taught me of the growth of ego, in a sense. That ego, like Deepak Chopra has the acronym of edging God out, but it's protecting the soul of whatever it is, right? But it's through the density of not when the alignment of the heart and what's coming out, when your words, actions, and deeds aren't aligned with what it, there will be density and more density and more density and more density. And that's what I feel at this moment in time is one of the main reasons why the conflicts are happening globally in the old world.
Yeah.
And you just brought validation that nobody lied to me because of they were bad. That's, you just said that. It's not bad. They lied because they were afraid what love is. They were afraid of love, in a sense, or it's not even afraid of love. It's of getting caught in that web of the 3D, in a sense of protection. But that's where I feel ego, in my mind, was formed. But I would like for Joseph to expand further in that, because what you are doing right now, it's like peeling the artichoke, and we're getting to the heart of something that is like uncovering even more memories of my channeling. So thank you, Cindy, and thank you, Joseph. Thank you,
So
thank
welcome.
you, thank you.
You're so welcome. Well, we have a very different perspective of the ego.
Yeah.
That is a bit controversial now because people find it difficult to move away from the fearful beliefs. Up until this point, the ego has been described as evil. I used to liken it to the devil. Because that's what I was taught. I never believed it.
Wow.
Never believed it. But all I heard was that the ego is bad. And it was always, the connotation was always bad. That guy has a huge ego. He's horrible. That, all this stuff. I never got it. I never understood that. So we have to understand that the teachings up until this point have all been in vibrational agreement with the third dimension, with the contrast, and they all served a wonderful purpose of moving us forward in some way, okay, opening us up in some way. So the ego is still being taught as this edging God out, or which hurts my heart when I say that, actually.
Yeah, me
and
too.
because now what I know. Anyway, so Joseph came out, their first book, they talk about the soul's perspective of the ego. So the ego aspect, the way we teach it, first of all, you cannot move out of the denseness with beliefs that are dense. There is no vibrational agreement. You cannot move into the vibration of the new earth or the vibration of your soul completely with a belief that has fear in it. And the edging God out, the ego is bad. I used to have friends who say, well, just get rid of the ego, just totally get rid of it. That's what we're concentrating on. I'm like,
Eradicate it. Yes.
no. Yes,
Yeah.
eradicate that. And it makes my heart hurt.
Yeah.
So Joseph took me through a series, actually, of understanding of their perspective of the ego. And they began by saying, and this is years ago, they began by saying, we want you to give your ego a name. And so when I did that, I gave it a name that I didn't like. It was a male name, and I didn't like the name. I'm not going to say it because it doesn't matter, but it was a name that rubbed me the wrong way. But I gave it that name, and I visualized the ego as a 2-year-old tantrum throwing brat. That's what I visualized it at. And I gave it this name. 2 days, I think, 2 days went by and I couldn't stand it made me so, it made me so sad to think, and I didn't know why yet. And I was calling this thing it made no sense. So I went back to Joseph and I said, wait a minute, this isn't working. And they said, good, it wasn't supposed to work. We're trying to give you the feeling. We want the emotion, right? The emotion is our vibrational indicator. Okay. So ultimately what they showed me this visual in a meditation. This is how they first described the purpose of the ego. They said, we want you to go, I call this the down by the river process now. Very important. This will take so much stress off so many people. It has already. So they said, okay, so go into a meditation, went into a meditation, and they said, now we want you to visualize a wide river, a beautiful river. And I had just come back from Madison River out. I went fly fishing for the first time ever. It was amazing. I loved it. Anyway, so I had this visual of this.
Girl, that's
Isn't that weird? Yeah, it was great. Anyway, so I visualized this beautiful river I had just come from. And they said, now sit down on the riverbank. And I did. And they said, look to your left. And I looked, and my ego was sitting there, a bright light. I knew it was my ego. They didn't say anything. I just knew it was. And they said, now look to your right. And I did. And it was Joseph. It was my soul. 3 lights sitting there. And they said, now look at the river. And when I turned and looked ahead of me, the water that was water before was now these big red and white balloons, let's say, and they were bopping up and down and all in the flow. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful sight. And I said, wow, that's so cool. What does that mean? And Joseph said, the white balloons represent, first of all the balloons represent thoughts. They're all thoughts and they're all available to you. The white balloons represent in alignment thoughts, and the red balloons represent out of alignment thoughts. I didn't know what that meant then either. I said, okay, that's pretty. And they said, now choose a thought. So I reached in and I chose a red ball because it was so pretty. It was so shiny, and I put it next to me. I reached in and I took another one. And as I'm doing this, I start to get this nudging feeling on my right-hand side in my physical body. I start feeling this nudging. Didn't pay much attention to it, although I was aware of it. I keep taking the red balls. Now I want to make this fruit salad of something. These red balls are beautiful. And the more I take, the worse I feel. The stabbing on my right-hand side is now unbearable. And I looked over at my ego and I said, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And the ego said, I'm not doing that. I am making you aware of the choices that you're making that are out of alignment. And the choices that you make that are out of alignment manifest out of alignment experiences, beginning with your emotions. They don't feel good. And ultimately, they will manifest in your body as illness and sickness. Mm-hmm. And they will continue to manifest out of alignment experiences. You are creating a pathway for yourself by the choices that you're making unknowingly. The choices that you're making will ultimately manifest experiences that you don't like, that are going to be unpleasant, to put it nicely. So if I were you, the ego says, if I were you, I would put them back and choose again. So I started putting them back. And as I'm putting them back, I'm shifting my focus to the white balloons because now I have an understanding. So I put them back, the pain is gone. I start choosing the white balloons. And as I'm choosing them, I'm feeling overwhelming love and excitement and passion and all of these emotions that come from our soul vibration, overwhelming love. And I see, I can see opportunities opening up and joy and excitement. And I looked at my soul, I looked at Joseph, and they high-fived me and they said, yes, keep choosing, keep choosing. This is your eternal path. And this is where you are right now. This example, this process of understanding the ego is your deciphering of the choices that you're making and how they feel.
That's beautiful. The way that, as you're speaking, the way that it was shown to me, like as you're speaking, like I feel like I was there with you
Yes.
at the riverbank. It's interesting. I have a little river stone in my hand, like ironically, but it's an angel-like river stone in my hand. And in the beginning of my career, I worked with certain celebrities and things like that. And a lot of them had bodyguards. You know, it was like bodyguards. And I don't know why they needed a bodyguard to come to my house, but still. It's, you know, I'm only 5'1", but it's like they heard I'm from Brooklyn. I don't know. But anyway, I'm just kidding. But anyway, it almost feels like it's like the bodyguards that are there in front of us. The ego is the bodyguard saying, watch out, there's danger, watch out, there's danger. And it's like the choices that we make when you lovingly spoke to the red balloons, or you lovingly spoke to these bodyguards saying, hey, thank you for the warning. Thank you for being in the field, but I don't believe in that story anymore. And here are other choices that perhaps I didn't have, and I'm safe. So, but it's of honoring that it is in the field. So,
Just
right?
a choice. Yes. And the ego creates, everything in the universe is in balance. So the ego creates the balance for the soul in a dimension where the soul does not offer contrast. The soul would not ever, but cannot give us a negative emotion or an uncomfortable emotion we talk about now. It cannot do that. It cannot produce it because there's nothing in the vibration of the soul, anything but love. There's nothing other than love there. So the ego comes with us when we come to the third dimension, helps us to navigate, tells us when we are in or out of alignment. The ego is our friend. And as soon as you shift your perspective about that, it is a balance. It's creating balance for us in the contrast. It's telling us the warning signs are all over the place. As soon as you start to feel an emotion that is not love, a negative emotion, what they refer to it as a negative emotion, that is your ego giving you indication. This is the beginning stage of what you're creating. Turn around, go back, warning, 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 and if we can catch it at the beginning of our emotional indicator, the negative, everything that's not love comes as indication from the ego, provides that for us, an aspect of us. It's an aspect of the soul, which means it is created in love. So it offers us the emotional experience of what we're choosing, so we know that we're out of alignment. That's what the ego does for us. It's
What does
beautiful.
the ego? It's really beautiful. It seems like it's almost like a marriage, like the ego and the
It
soul,
is,
right?
yes,
A union of
exactly.
sun and moon, the union of ego and soul,
Yes,
right?
the ego's in service
Oh
to
wow,
us and to its soul as we are. And the
beautiful,
soul is in service to us. They said to me one time, you
beautiful.
are, and when they were first telling me, you are an aspect of us. And I said, okay, I can go with that. And they
Right.
said, and we are an aspect of you. And I went, wait a minute. Wow, that puts us on the same field, the level playing field. And they said, exactly. We are not complete without you, and you are not complete without us. We are one. We are one. That's where the oneness is.
Yeah, the
So
oneness.
there's not an aspect of us that's more important than we are, just more expanded. The soul is the expanded version of us, an aspect that's leading us, guiding us, stands in service.
And where are the other aspects of us?
All over the place. There is an aspect of you on every single, of all of us, really, on every single vibrational timeline that you have ever experienced in this realm and in every realm you have ever experienced. And you've been around a long ass time.
Me, don't I look great for like a
You look
billion years
great.
old?
You're a
You
jillion
too.
years old. Yes.
I'm like
Yes.
Samantha from My Dream of Jeannie.
That's right.
I'm trying to wiggle my
No, it's
nose.
Jeannie from I Dream of Jeannie. It's Samantha from Bewitched.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bewitched. I
Bewitched.
Bewitched.
You know,
That's
yeah.
right. That's right. That's actually, that was my favorite show. That,
Yeah, me too. And I
well,
Love Lucy.
and I Love Lucy, mine
I
too.
still watch it I've been watching that thing for 60 years. I'm
Me
watching 60
too.
years. Yeah, still watch it.
Me for a billion years.
Yeah, billions of years we've been watching Lucy. Yeah, so all these aspects, but every aspect is always experiencing the vibration of the timeline they chose to visit. For example, we are the human aspect. We are experiencing, we're our soul, but we're experiencing the contrast so we can choose and expand this particular aspect of our soul. And there are unlimited aspects of the soul, unlimited aspects of God, unlimited. We can't even fathom it. We can't fathom it, but we are here in this third dimension to choose our way out. And that's what we're doing.
So, Cindy, is it a part of me, and a part of everyone that is watching, obviously, whoever's watching, they're bouncing from 3D, but there's a part of me that's in the 5D, right?
Oh my
Also,
God. And more
and more.
and more. Yes, absolutely. But your soul is focused in everywhere. But we are the focus. We are the manifestation of the focus of the aspect who is experiencing this realm of consciousness. Okay. So the soul is focused. It's having unlimited experiences. We are just one of those experiences. And so we have chosen to experience this because when we expand this particular aspect, and we are in every moment that we're focused on love, our soul expands, the universe expands, the Godhead expands. Every time you think of love, every time you have an experience of love or passion, excitement, adventure, you're expanding the universe. This is how powerful we are, which is why we encourage focus on your own alignment. Focus on your own alignment. That's where all the answers are that you want. That's where that's what your eternal path is, really, is the pathway of alignment with your soul. It's your guide. Yeah.
What does Joseph say about soul contracts? Are there and are there soul contracts? When I channel, or when I mean, we're channeling all the time,
Mm.
but I was given the gift of going into the pre-birth plan while like here. And I'm getting very emotional with you. It's
It
yeah,
happens. Yeah, it
yeah, it
happens.
really is. Like, I'm not a very huggy person, but I would hug you if I was like, like
Yeah.
I'm a
It's us New
Capricorn. So
Yorkers. We're not huggy people.
you're like,
We're not huggy
we
people.
love you. Here's
Yeah, get away from me.
dinner
Yeah.
on me. That's our acts of service is our love.
Yeah, that's right.
Love
That's right.
language. But I was given the gift of seeing the pre-birth plan before people come here, like souls. Okay. And the way that it's given to me is like I see vibrations, like they show me in octaves. I don't know how to play musical instruments, but I love music. I love dance. I love percussion. I love house music, hip hop, like all different kinds of music. And when I'm doing sessions, when I have the privilege of doing sessions for people, I see where there's free will and where there's choice, like and destiny, like of what was pre-written before. But according to Joseph's teachings, how would they define of what a soul contract is? Because I'm able to see that, and their highest octave of the potentiality, and how sometimes they go into, because maybe the red balloons that they choose, because sometimes the red balloons offers them comfort,
Of
it's like,
course.
and they're very loyal to the red balloons,
Yes.
because it's almost like war wounds, like, here's my pin, because I went through that particular pain. So I'm going to stay with the red balloons. Not
Even
even,
though I know, yeah, even though I
even
know it's going to hurt, at least
yeah.
I know what
It's
it
like
is. It's
the red
exactly right.
balloons right there,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And it's like, so my question is this, like, I'm able to go into the soul, like, and ask them what their particular signals are before the body starts going through the disease, in a sense, as their wake-up
Mhm.
call. What does Joseph say about soul contracts and of the difference of fate and destiny of while we're here on the third dimension, third, fourth, fifth, let's say?
Mhm. Well, we don't care for the word contracts. We know it's widely used, and we
Yeah,
understand why. We would prefer the word agreement,
I love
because you're never bound. You are never, ever, ever are you bound to anything. You are a consistent chooser.
mm,
You're a consistent chooser. So your use of when you said, I can see the potentials.
right.
That's exactly right. The probabilities, the potentials, the possibilities, because when those agreements are made, they are made from the position of alignment where there is no limit to anything. So we have agreements. We understand that the pathway of alignment is made up of events. They are events. They are not based on time or even a lifetime. They are events on your eternal path that you choose. And they are events of understanding. They're events of expansion, which offers more choice. So we would say that the only destiny that anyone has from the space of alignment is expansion. That is a destiny. And what happens, how we choose to get to the events on our path are our choices. There are individual choices. So we have in the past, sometimes we have made predictions with a lot of disclaimers. We make predictions and we say, but we call them possibilities, probabilities, because when you are focused on the um, pathway of alignment, there is nothing that you cannot, as Abraham says, be or do or have. There is nothing. And it's the only thing that stops you is your belief that you have a contract with someone, can't break the contract. There are some teachers, and we're not, please don't misunderstand that we are not saying any teaching is wrong. There's never a wrong teaching of anything. There is a teacher for everyone who resonates. That is everybody, right? But we prefer to remove the limits of the third dimension and the third dimensional teachings and say that you are the only one that is responsible for your vibration. First of all, you are the only one that can direct. No one can impose a vibration into you or force you to do anything that you are not choosing. Now, a lot of people will have a problem with that because they're thinking from the out of alignment position. They think, well, I have to do this and I have to do that. It's an out of alignment position. Yeah, I have to. And so it's really what it boils down to is that you are the chooser of every experience, and you are creating pathways. When we say you, we're talking generally. You are creating pathways to every single experience you have, and every experience begins with the emotional indicator of what pathway you're building. If you are creating a pathway that is out of alignment, you feel the out of alignment emotion first, and that's your first. If someone breaks your heart, if you're in a relationship and someone just leaves and you're devastated, it's an emotion in the third dimension that has really people leave. They choose to leave because of the devastation of this emotion. But that is the first indication that that thought, your dominant vibration in that moment is out of alignment. We're always leading one or the other. There are two vibrations we're choosing from, only two, and each one has unlimited possibilities, right? So the out of alignment is completely separate from the in alignment experience. There's no overlap here. So, and our emotions, it's either your ego saying, throw it back, you're not going to like this, or your soul saying, keep going, keep going, keep going. And you can feel the difference. You can feel it first. But if you don't pay attention to it, and most people don't, because
Yeah.
they are so dominant in the contrasting
So true.
vibration. Yeah. That
So
there's just this is why we have sayings like, life is supposed to be hard. If you're not working really hard, you're doing something wrong. You're going to end up homeless. All these horrible things that are
right.
not true. Yeah. So that's our answer, that we would say that there are agreements, but agreements can be changed in a second, because you always have free will and free choice. Always, every aspect. Or else we wouldn't be our soul. There's no limits in our soul. Our soul will never tell us what to do and what not to do. Gives us indication. It helps us. Gives us the ego to help us in the third dimension to understand it.
Exactly.
So you can change it in any moment.
And what is the definition of soul to you?
Well, the definition of soul is the collective you. And each soul is unique, just like each aspect is unique, but all held together by vibrational agreement. So my soul, my unique soul, is part of the collective of Josef, and we are held together by this vibrational agreement. And so my role here in this realm for my collective is to deliver this message. And I am told, and I have been told by many, that for eons of time, I've always played this role in some way or another. And so have you. We've all had our head chopped off. We've all been burned. We've all been, thrown in a river, because we've always been on the leading edge, as Abraham says, meaning that we are helping, we are assisting in the shift, because we're always shifting. Every lifetime we shift. This time it happens to be, I always call it the big one. Joseph says it's not big, Cindy, it's just different. And it is, we're shifting our vibration from being dominant in the contrast to being dominant in our soul. That's
Yeah.
what the shift is. Yeah. Whole
I
different perspective.
True. I got a souvenir from the time I got thrown in the river. You see?
I love that. And you still have it.
I still got it. My mom, when she pushed me out with the souvenir.
It probably used to be a really big boulder, but over the course of lifetimes.
And I'll tell you, you're not going to see me wearing turtlenecks in this lifetime. Hell no. No. I'm not anything that was over here. That was tough. Like, and there's certain elements that I guess, like, let's speak about epigenetics for a moment, and about like the past lives, and how all of those experiences that our soul has experienced, how we now viscerally feel what we feel, that we are deterred, repelled, or we embrace certain things. Like, I cannot wear turtlenecks at all. Anything that's too tight around my neck, although I need my shoulders covered sometimes because I need to feel that support. There's certain physical ailments that sometimes are medical mysteries that people are born with, right?
They're part of the physical vibration that was left dormant. It's all out of alignment stuff. Once you understand vibration, as you do, you can understand everything. You understand everything. Everything comes into, becomes clear. And that throat thing that you have, it's a vibration that is held in your physical vibration that's causing that response.
Although I'll take a pretty necklace though. Okay. That's, just
Yeah.
if anyone got the memo, anything about if it's a pretty necklace, it's fine, but
Yeah.
no turtlenecks. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you? Do you have some physical ailments that you feel that 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 was something that is not from this particular here and now?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't. Although that's actually not true. I don't know. I have a back thing, and it
Or the body has a back thing.
the
Let's
body has a back thing,
yeah.
but it's indication to me now that I understand it. It's indication to me now that I'm in the wrong place.
Okay.
I'm in the wrong place. Could be it started with a job actually years ago. And all of a sudden I just like couldn't walk. And it was a horrible 2-year period. But as soon as I left that, it stopped. So that made me understand,
Oh, wow.
and it, it rears up when I get stressed, which is rare. But if I'm in a situation, because I stay away from most people, but when I'm in a situation that is really vibrationally uncomfortable for me, I can feel it in my back. So that's an indication for me. I don't know what it is. I think there's too
Okay.
many
Well, it could just be
opportunities
it could
for
be
that.
a signal that has,
Yes.
that is within you. Um, Angels,
Mm.
guides.
Yeah.
I pray every day. I gratitude every day, like since a little girl. I really wasn't brought up with any type of strict religion at all. But I knew like some of the Catholic prayers, and I wasn't raised Catholic. There are certain things that for me it was just really connection with source and light that is important. But what would be the definition of the consciousness of love of Joseph? Like my first teacher of channeling was Cryon Lee Carroll.
Oh, I love crying.
Yeah, he's great. I've like for almost 20 years. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
Abraham was like synonymous during that time. And then the law of one, Ra,
Yeah.
and now you that it's like these are all, I feel like when people would have that, they would ask like at a dinner parties, if you had a dinner party and you had 10 people that you could invite, who would you invite? I'm like,
We do
Abraham, Joseph, Ra,
Yeah, but
Christ.
you just have to invite one person because it's the same. It's one. It's just one. One
I wanted to
consciousness.
ask you about angels and guides, and also about the the guardian angel, like that is with our soul as well. How do we decipher? Because it feels different at times. It's still the vibration of love, but
Yeah.
I know the difference. I could decipher of when it's my soul speaking to me, when it's the red balloon speaking to me. Okay.
You're
When it's,
choosing.
yeah, when it's my my the guides, just guides in general, not just like, and when there's something beyond source. So are there, and I know this is a very 3D question,
Yeah.
but we have viewers and listeners that we are here to share all the knowledge, because we're asking on behalf, and also of just for the education of, so we can
Yeah.
raise the consciousness.
Of
What
channeling.
are the different, yeah, if there is a differentiation, or how can one differentiate?
You know, it's a feeling. The differentiation is a feeling, like you said, and nobody can feel something for someone else. So, and this is where it gets
Love that.
sticky when it comes to channeling. When we started channeling this way, when I first started channeling, I was watching everybody and trying to do what they did, go into a meditation, protect myself. And nothing ever worked. It never felt right. And I kept saying to Joseph, why is it not working? And they said, because that's not who you are. But
Mm.
when you're ready, come back. And I would go and watch another channel and say, okay, I'm going to do this, and maybe never ever worked. And finally they said, Cindy, all you have to do is focus on us. That's all you have to do, is focus on a vibration. It's a manifestation. It's a connection. Our channeling, really got a bad rap, and we will have a new word for that too, because it is so, people have told us before that, I know she's not channeling. She's not in a trance. I mean, that's
Yep.
bullshit,
Yep.
and, but that's silly. So, everybody is unique. And unfortunately, everybody's channeling, they just don't get it, or they don't know it, because it doesn't look like somebody else. Doesn't look like it's like Esther is channel. It doesn't look. But if you watch the evolution of an Esther channel, if you have ever looked up the old videos, if you can
Oh
still find them,
no.
I think from the 80s, she was in a trance. She was totally out of her body, voice changed, everything was different. Now all she does is focus. So it is different for everybody. And it sounds like her, just like it sounds like me. I would say to Joseph all the time, how come I can't, is it you or is it me? And they said, Cindy, we're the same. It's the same. What do you expect us to sound like? We are you. Of course, we're going to sound like you. So it's the feeling of truth. It's the feeling of the love that you experience. The difference in the guides, we would say, the guides and the angels, and of course our 3D, we want to label everything different, but we're talking about a consciousness of love, that has unlimited manifestations of that love. Of how many ways can you experience love? You can't even name them all. Even in this body, you can't name them all. Think about, how your soul experiences love. All it does is sit there and love. That's all it does, right? So it just loves. So the experience of hearing or communicating with guides and angels, and they'll always talk to you. You have to trust what you hear. First of all, ask, and they'll tell you. But it's a unique experience. A lot of us have um, um, family members who have passed on, who are guides. My mother is one for me, and I can connect with her. But we're talking about, really what it boils down to is, we're talking about the most natural language that we all speak, and that is vibration. And when you understand vibrational communication, it's how people talk to trees. That's how people I communicate with animals that way. I just look at them and they love me. I mean, you can communicate vibrationally with animals. That's their language. And so every universal being is communicating vibrationally. So when you are hearing from your guides, your loved ones you'll recognize differently, because you have a physical experience with them. You should be able to tell them, tell their vibration apart. I
Sure.
always can. When I was reading for people, I could, I could decipher that. But just like you said, when it's your soul, when it's your guide. But I would say to everybody out there, everybody who's watching this, you are already a channel. It's nice to take courses from people and kind of learn. It can be a little dangerous. And I say that, only in that it limits you too. It
I
can limit
agree.
you, you know. So many people say, well, I know I'm not channeling because I don't look like that person. I go, no, 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 don't ever say you are channeling. Everybody's channeling. It just comes
Wow.
through differently. So we example the blended vibration, which is the physical aspect who is dominant in the soul vibration. So everything comes through me when we're a collective. For years, I would refer to them and me, you or they, and they started telling me, don't do, say we, it's we, welcome the collective in, because it is the collective. And when you begin to refer to them as you, it changes your perspective about who you really are, because that's who you really are, is the them of us. The soul of us is who we really are, we're playing a role in this whole
It's amazing.
carnival.
It is. Yeah,
Yeah,
as you
it's
cough.
carnival.
Yeah.
And if you think
Yes.
about it,
Yeah.
they took me through this whole thing. It was pretty interesting. When they were talking about the carnival, they said, when you go to a carnival, there's a fun house where you go in and you look at and you're all distorted. You
With
don't
different
really,
mirrors and everything.
yes,
Yep.
yes, the mirrored house. And then there's the freak show where people are pointing and laughing at people who are different than you are.
Mm.
And I started, and I still feel that it's awful. And they said and then they went on with all of these carnival things, and they said, we are leaving the carnival now. The gates are closing and we don't play those games anymore. We don't laugh and point. We
Mm-mm.
understand that the uniqueness is so special. Everybody is so unique because our vibrations are unique. Our fingerprints are manifestations of our individual vibration,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. Don't you
So,
don't you find that with the sound of someone's voice as well?
yes,
Yeah, me too.
yes.
Me
The
too.
resonation, yes. Yeah,
It's that's a soul remembrance.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
It's so beautiful. My goodness. Like Cindy, I could speak to you for
I
hours and
know. This has been really fun. We've been going for a long
and I know it's like and for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes.
time.
Truly, it's
Oh,
it's
this is
been
great.
so much fun and so deep and insightful and
So,
um I
oh,
love I love your soul. I do.
I love your soul too. See, we got a connection going. We had this agreement. Okay, this is the perfect thing.
Yep.
We're like sisters, right? So we have this vibrational agreement and we understand it and we're unique and we're both doing what we came to do. I said to Joseph one time, I know this is my job, and they said, Cindy, this is not your job. This is who you are. And I went, oh, I see. Okay. And yes, I will answer somebody. There are people asking, do I have a Joseph? Do I have a Joe? Everybody has a Joseph. Everybody has a
Oh,
Joseph. Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. So
you know, all right, fine. I'll confess something, okay?
yeah.
Fine, Joseph, fine. Fine, Joseph. You always do this to me, Joseph. But
They're pretty sneaky. They can get sneaky.
yeah, it's and they're funny.
They're
They have
funny.
they're pretty.
Yeah.
Joseph is witty. Joseph
Yeah.
is witty.
Joseph's funny.
I feel the Joseph. Wow. So last year, my friend Robert Schwartz, he's a hypnotherapist, and he wrote amazing books of channelings, and he does lives between lives regressions. And last year we met around this time, probably if I'm going to look at the calendar, it seems about like the same week. Um, and we met and it was just instant connection. Although I forgot that I even booked this session, I thought that I had to do a session on him. I was like so disoriented for a moment and I surrendered. And when I would channel and do sessions or whatever, I just open up my heart. I call in angels, I call in guides, I kind of call in the entire
Yeah.
love posse, whoever,
Yeah.
it's just, and but what came out during this particular regression per se that I never in a million years would have imagined. And it took me to a place of where he was trying to get me into in between lives. And that really didn't go. I went into a different galaxy altogether. And I felt it was my home. And it was the 13th of 12 different light beings, and they all had different attributes that are part of the world. Like it's like, and it all, but together it's love and oneness. Okay.
Yeah.
And when he said, speak to someone, I said, no, they're all speaking at the same time. I said, I can't speak to someone because they're all talking at the same time. And he said, what are their names? And this is the first time I'm saying this again. And I said, children of the galaxy. And I was just lying there on that table, and they were beaming the light. And it just felt like, it really felt like oneness. It was this beautiful, just the colors I can't even explain.
Yeah.
I don't even think they have it on Earth. I've never seen such colors before in my life, the
No.
frequency.
Yeah.
And I couldn't comprehend. And I said, am I just visiting? And they said, no, you are us.
Yeah.
And the children of the galaxy just seems like such a long word for, like, Joseph kind of feels cool. Like, this is like, so my question was about, is this something new that's transmitting? Like, did I go from VHS to, like, like, from VHS to what was before to now? Like, what was that? And is that is that a chant? Like, what is that? What was
What
that
are what are
experience?
you asking? Who they
About
are or what
who
you
the children of the
experienced?
galaxy? Yes. Like, am I channeling the children of the galaxy, or am I channeling angels? Like, what is this
Yes,
channel going
yes.
through me?
And they gave you that name because you could understand it. You can call them anything you want. You can call them anything. You can give them a name like ours. You can give them whatever. But they
Mm,
wanted you to know that you are part of this group. This group who is I'm seeing this big group of kids, and they're all so happy and playing, and that are running around, teaching, sharing, throwing
mhm.
love. They're throwing love all
Yeah.
over the place. And it's a very, my word, not theirs, old group. So you're a very old, some people would say old soul. So am I. We come from a place that is beyond this
Yeah.
galaxy, beyond it. It's when I had my Akash, they said, you can think of us as, and it's part of you, so it's an aspect of you. This is what I'm trying to say. But they said, you can refer to us so you can understand it, Cindy. So you can understand. Same thing with you. You could say we are the grandfathers of the grandfathers of the grandfathers of Joseph. Now, your group is as, I'm going to use the word ancient. There's not a word because there's no time. It is from the beginning, from the beginning,
Mhm. That's what
from
they
the
showed me.
beginning. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, so yes, so when you're channeling, you're surrounded. First of all, you got tons of them. But when you focus on a certain aspect of something that you're channeling, and they're saying you will be able to identify this more so, because it's going to be a feeling that you have. But they're encouraging you to focus more on this group and give them another name if call them Amy, call them Betty.
I'm
It
not going to
doesn't
call
matter.
them turtleneck.
Don't call them turtleneck. Don't call
Anything
them
but
turtleneck.
turtleneck.
No, yeah, don't call them turtleneck.
Oh,
But you can call them. You can call them whatever you want. It doesn't matter. But yes, you are part of this traveling group and traveling from
mm,
galaxy. You have a lot of aspects that are when you said, where are the rest of our aspects? You're scattered all over the place. So much. You're scattered all over the place, and you can communicate with all of them, and you do. Some of them show up to you as guides, some as
mhm.
angels. You're connected on many, many levels, many, many levels. And the more you expand this aspect, when you leave here, when you're out of here, you will emerge into every single one of those aspects. You're there now, but your awareness of them will be like an emergence into every single aspect that's out there. You will return to the oneness of the collective you. In your focus, we're talking about your focus.
Oh,
You're always there,
absolutely.
but your focus will be, yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Yep.
So yeah, interesting group. They're very playful. They're very
Yes.
playful. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very funny too.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have a great sense of humor, and
Yeah.
it's and I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, I need to start drinking my energy drinks because I'm going to be really busy soon.
You won't feel a thing. All you'll feel is expansion.
I'll be like, oh my God.
It's going to be amazing. Yeah.
God,
And
Cindy,
you can do that now. You can
wow.
do that now in a meditation. You could go there now. However you meditate, it could
You're
be,
going to teach me. We're going to do that
well,
together.
I'm not a
I'm
great
going to, you
meditator anymore, but you can
oh,
do it by way of your focus. Joseph's saying
right.
your focus, by your focus. Get by yourself and focus on the children.
Yeah.
Focus on the children, call them whatever you want, but focus on that and expand. You have to expand your awareness to include them. Now they're already in there. You're already aware of them, but in
Mhm.
order to experience them more in this physical body, you need to expand your awareness to include more of them. And you just do that by focusing. You do that by focusing on that experience to begin with, the feeling that you had when you were on that table. The feeling of them is what will bring them into your experience. So start there. I would say start there,
Wow.
and then watch out because they're raring to get in. They're just waiting for you to
I
open the
know
door.
they
And they
are.
all have lollipops. I'm seeing them. They're all standing there. They're so
Like,
cute. I see them as
like
like
chutes
these
and
little,
ladders.
they're shoots and ladders. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I know. This is a
Yeah,
very nostalgic
it
connection,
is. It is
you
very
know?
nostalgic. Yeah, I
You
love it.
know.
I love it. This has been so much
Wow.
fun.
Oh, Cindy, this
So
was so
fun.
much fun. Joseph, thank you,
Yeah, you're
thank
so
you
welcome.
for
Thank you.
telling me as it is. and,
Always.
and
Yeah,
for
we don't bullshit.
sharing. No, you're no bullshit. You're
We don't
all
bullshit.
love. You're all truth.
Yeah.
You are, and you're so beautiful.
Oh,
You radiate beauty
oh my
and
God. Thank you. Feel
wisdom.
like
And yeah, my soul, my heart, the children of the galaxy,
the
the
children of the galaxies.
all of my lollipops, and even
Oh, yeah.
I and all my white balloons.
White balloons.
They thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Um,
You're so welcome.
I'm so honored to be here with you. And for all our viewers and our listeners, what kind of offerings do you do, and what is the best way for them to connect with you? Because you're just such a light.
Oh, geez, thanks. God, how can I ever live past that? You're
I
just
know, right?
overwhelming with all that stuff. Jeez. Um, through our website, you can get to everything. The books are on there. And you can connect to our YouTube channel, Instagram, the teachings of Joseph.com with an F, Joseph with an F. That will lead you to everything. And our interviews are on our YouTube channel too. And that's it. That's it.
Amazing. And do you
Everything's,
do any readings, or do you
I
do?
do. Yeah, you can book with us.
Oh, you do? That's
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing that they do that. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. We like the one-on-one. Yeah.
Mm,
Trying to teach people to leave those old beliefs behind. We got some stragglers out there,
we do. We
Yeah.
do.
Got a lot to do, kiddo.
Yeah,
We have
but
a lot to do.
we're in this together,
Yes,
and
we are.
I'm glad to be part of the love army.
Yeah, me too. I
With
love
you,
that. I love that
with
too.
you.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Jeanette.
much.
So nice.
Thank
You're so
you.
welcome. You're so welcome. I'll talk to you soon.
Many blessings, Cindy.